Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor to speak after the Estonian parliamentary political debate. I have been asked to give a general overview of cohesion and diversity. So I will do my best to be as short and clear as possible, not to hold you from the coffee break. I believe that cohesion and diversity are two sides of the same coin. Both relate to the state of relationship of freedom and unity in a society. A healthy society, especially a democratic one, needs both. If there is too much cohesion, we get an ant colony, ants in a forest and so on. Yeah.
I was told that you have to be a bit closer to the mic.
I will do my best. It's too short. If there is too much cohesion, we get an ant colony. It is beautifully organized. Everyone cooperates 100%. There are no freeloaders, no traitors. There is no dissent. But there is also no freedom, no innovation, and no individuality. As the Harvard sociobiologist Edward O. Wilson stated when he was asked about the dream of communist utopia, he said, "It's a great idea, just wrong species." Humans are not built for complete cohesion. And that is why attempts to build such a society, we call them totalitarian societies, always fail. And while they exist, they must use exceedingly cruel methods to eradicate diversity. Today we meet in Estonia, a country that has received its own share of totalitarian experiments in the last century. So it would seem that cohesion is a dangerous idea, that it can lead to a disaster. And that certainly is true, it can. But I believe that this is the reason why many European countries today focus on the ideals of diversity and individual liberty. But at the same time, any mention of cohesion is treated with suspicion. Cohesion is simply not mentioned in a polite society in some European countries. Germany is an example of such a country today. Yet, this is not the case of Estonia. How come? Estonians know that they don't want total cohesion, but they know they need a healthy level of cohesion. Otherwise, they won't survive. In its core, it's a simple equation. Society with too much cohesion becomes rigid, inflexible, and intolerant, and eventually loses the ability to adapt and develop. It is prone to groupthink and violent enforcement of conformity. Today, a society that walked down this road the furthest is the North Korea. North Korean regime is still trying to remake human society into an ant colony. On the other side, society with too little cohesion become fragmented. They lack shared values and mutual trust, which leads to breakdown in social order, political instability, and economic inefficiencies because of high transaction costs. It also turns out that it may be a source of serious mental health issues. People are pack animals. They don't prosper in an environment of very low cohesion and high polarization. Examples of societies with extremely low cohesion are typically societies that they didn't survive, so we don't even know them. Often not because of natural disasters or conquest, but because of internal strife. Last country that has disintegrated was Sudan in 2011. Today, countries such as Venezuela or Lebanon are close to such fate. An interesting thing is that the business world has realized this early enough. Building company culture is a billion-dollar industry, and every big corporation is doing what they can to develop one. Why is that? Because they realized the economic value of cohesion. People with similar values, language, and goals cooperate better, easier, and cheaper than those who don't. As Simon Sinek put it, a reason why Apple was so successful is because they were not selling a device, a phone or speakers. They were selling a story, an identity. Apple workers are thus not just constructing phones, but they believe they are serving a community of like-minded people with a shared story. And they will work through sweat and blood and tears to do it. No wonder they outperform their competition. It is the same thing with SpaceX or Tesla today. Market-wise, these companies are very volatile. So why would you buy shares there? Because they have a cult following that has their back. Because their shareholders are not buying a share of a car building company or a rocket building company. They are buying a greener future with electromobiles and colony of Mars that will back up humanity on a different planet. You feel the difference? So it seems we need both. Our goal should be to strike a balance that promotes unity and shared values while still allowing for diversity of thought and individual expression. The main question for this audience, and also for policymakers all around Europe, is: do we realize this? Do we do enough to promote both? Or is cohesion just taken for granted? There are many countries that have serious problems with racism or other forms of discrimination. Many have inherited social tensions from the colonial past, such as Britain or France, or have strong need to atone for their role in the Second World War, such as German society today. These countries thus focus on diversity policies, which makes perfect sense. But it seems many European countries forget to pay similar attention to cohesion. We see important indicators of cohesion decreasing in most European countries, such as trust in institutions or willingness to defend one's own country. With war coming back to Europe, but also cost of living crisis and other challenges, countries that want to keep their citizens reasonably safe and reasonably prosperous cannot afford low cohesion. That is why I think Estonia is so interesting for us from the other post-communist countries, because it seems you have successfully found this balance, while having similar or even worse problems than Slovakia, Czech Republic, and Hungary and Poland that had after the fall of the Iron Curtain. I believe I speak for many of those present, but certainly for my colleagues from Slovakia, that we are looking to learn from your experience. We are grateful for the invitation, and we are looking forward to discuss these topics over the coming days and years.
Thank you, Pavol. You can make it an applause. You said that you want to learn from Estonian experience, but we would like to learn about the Slovak experience. What is the current situation with social cohesion in Slovakia?
I agree that you can learn from the best and also from the worst.
Which side is Slovakia?
I think the people come to Estonia to get inspired and in Slovakia to get warned. Unfortunately, well, I love my country, don't take me wrong, but we are not very good at this. In the last 30 years, our cohesion has mostly stagnated, and then it got worse. We are the third most polarized country in Europe, right after Poland and Hungary. So we have a club in the Central Europe like that. We just went through an assassination of our prime minister, attempted assassination, 6 months ago, and there is a very rare shared opinion between politicians and media and general public. We don't get that very often, that polarization is behind this. Our society is fragmenting and tribalizing. And I don't really see how it will end. We can't even pick if we belong to the East or to the West.
But you personally, would you connect what happened with your Prime Minister Robert Fico, who is a populist, left-wing and conservative at the same time?
He's a very capable politician.
Yes. Would you connect this, what happened with him, to polarization of your society, that it led up to that?
Well, yes, but polarization and I guess behavior of political elites is they're connected. It's connected. It influences each other, and the people that are the most powerful in any country have strong influence on the country. So it certainly was in the power of Slovak politicians to influence society, to depolarize the situation or to polarize it even more. And it seems that we picked the second option. So we are just getting more polarized. So
even after there was attempted assassination of your prime minister, the politicians didn't turn down their rhetorics, but they went even further.
It mostly escalated. I can give you a simple example. There was this call from the incumbent president of Slovakia and the actual president of Slovakia. We just had a change of presidents at that time, to call all the political parties, like everyone met here, and at a round table and discuss this and bring a united statement that violence is not the way and so on. And everyone refused it. Well, not everyone, but there were some parties that refused it. And they were speaking, they started to use war rhetorics that, we are under attack and we have to defend, and it's, it's the conservative fault or it's the liberal fault and so on. It wasn't a very responsible behavior. A week after that, they have met and they've issued a statement like that, but, the emotions have been already there, so...
What is your suggestion to Slovakian politicians and also Estonian politicians?
I'm afraid I'm a scientist. I'm not in the business of fixing countries, at least not yet. I honestly don't know, but we have a long list of things that we should discuss before we can actually come to any agreement. Because for at least basic cohesion, you need at least some things that people and political parties have to agree on. Right? As far as I know, the Poles have this general agreement that there are few things in the state that they don't touch, whoever is running the country. There is some security agreements, some education agreements, some strategic economic agreements. We don't have anything like that. So every few years, everything just changes. It doesn't seem to be working very well for us.
Thank you, Pavol. If you have